Hey everyone, welcome to the Smarter Church Communications Podcast. I'm your host, Zack, and this is a podcast where we empower church leaders like you to help you streamline your church communications, connect more effectively with your congregation, and reach even more people in your community. Whether you're looking for practical tips, fresh ideas, or strategies to make your message stand out, you're in the right place. And today I'm super excited to get to hang out. We've got Mindy Porter from our staff, who also is on staff at her church as well and has been there doing church communications for a long time. So I always love to get to hang out with Mindy, pick her brain some. It's a little bit like getting your own little mastermind podcast and getting to hear from the mastermind of Mindy and hear all the things she's learned. So, Mindy, we today are going to be looking at Christmas because, like, Christmas is here. Everybody's starting to put up their Christmas lights and decorations. So, I guess my first question is, how soon do you guys start decorating at your church and your family? Let's start with your family. How soon do you guys start to decorate for Christmas? Are y'all like November 1st, or do you guys wait till after Thanksgiving? Start with your family, and then I want to hear, how do you guys do that at your church?
Well, we're doing it this weekend at home, which is, what is this weekend, Zach, the 15th?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So usually I always tell my husband, I want this for my birthday. My birthday's coming up. And not, I don't have to get it for my birthday, but that's how so in between, so we'll
There you
do
go.
that. And then for church, so this is a tip for, and people may know this may be obvious, but it didn't connect with me till like 10 years in. If you start to see a holiday in the retail stores, you need to be thinking about that holiday in your church.
Yeah.
So instead of getting frustrated that why are Christmas trees out? We haven't even had Halloween or whatever. Use
Yeah.
that as your cue that we need to be thinking about all things Christmas. Same thing for Easter. Anything that connects to your church,
Yeah.
you need to be thinking about it when you see it in the retail stores.
Oh, that's a great
So
tip.
yeah, it's a tip, but we've planned how we're going to decorate, but we can't pull the trigger on that until we start our Christmas series.
Mm.
And so this year we will start our Christmas series on November 30th,
Okay.
but it all depends on when that's happening. And so we will have a mad rush to decorate the church Thanksgiving week.
Okay. Perfect. No, that sounds great. I think that's a good thought. And starting to think about it, like I saw Christmas stuff at Home Depot, like you said before Halloween. But if we're not prepping for it, and getting communications ready, getting things bought, then it'll just sneak up on us like the week after Thanksgiving. I think that's for me always where it's like if I'm not prepping before Thanksgiving, then after Thanksgiving is twice as stressful trying to get everything done and prepared. So let's start with like communications. What are things you need to be prepping right now or getting ready for on the church communication side? Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, you have to, you have your plan set of like what's Christmas look like for us. And then you need to communicate that to your people. And with the mindset of who can you invite, this information leaves the building, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So that's first and foremost. So we will hit that on November 30th. We'll have invitation cards, which are old school, but we like to give people a physical card so that they can hand it to a friend, put it up in the staff lounge, whatever's appropriate, but have this like thing that you can actually hand somebody. So we'll have those ready right away. We'll have our road signs up. And that's something that I learned the hard way too is our church is not located at a stop sign or a stoplight. So don't overload your sign if people are driving by at 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So just keep it
On road
simple.
sign, do y'all have like an A-frame sign, or is it like one of those printed banners that you just sort of hang up?
Well, for us, we have a big wooden built structure that we built to hang signs on. And
Perfect.
so I don't know, is it 7 foot long? I don't know, but we put one on each side of it.
Cool.
And so, but any road sign's good with the very basic information, knowing that a person is going to go to your website to figure out details.
Yeah.
We do get drop-ins, but most people are going to investigate more. So it's a teaser to entice people to look in more. And if you are lucky enough to have a stop sign or a stop light, you can add more information to your sign. So that's just something that's something I think is
Yeah,
wise, is just to think
absolutely.
about, read the room, figure out
Yeah.
how people are interacting. So road signs and then your social media. We'll launch our Facebook ads December 1st is the plan. If you do Google ads, if you have the Google nonprofit or if you want to spend some money there, I would do that then too. And then I typically roll out my spending and I get higher and higher as we get closer to. So you're
Hmm.
kind of planting seeds earlier. And then as you get closer to when people start to make plans, you kind of hit harder with your reach. What do you think about that, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we always encourage that. And the nice thing about doing that too is you get to see what creatives are working well. And so
Hmm.
sometimes, and even churches year to year, it changes. Like sometimes it's the pastor invite, sometimes it's still images of last year's Christmas Eve services. But I do think getting as much imagery of last year's Christmas Eve services into your ads, we've seen that be very impactful, and I think people are like really connecting the dots of like, oh yeah, that's what we're looking for. Whether that's a video invite or something, I think sprinkling in some imagery of what it's actually like to be there at your church on a Sunday, or not on a Sunday, but on Christmas Eve will be really huge. So,
I agree. Because like you've always said, if you have a good picture, they can find out in one picture, what do I wear?
hmm,
What does it look like inside? Like all the questions that a new person might be nervous about or wondering, you can answer with a picture.
yeah,
So wise.
absolutely.
And yeah, what else would website, of course. And I always do a small banner of some kind on the homepage
Hmm.
that is very prominent, and then with a button to click to your landing page for Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And Zach taught me to use the same URL every year so that the Google indexing is done. And so
Mm.
you don't need to say Christmas 2025, or Christmas Eve, just say Christmas Eve. And
In the
then
slide up there, hmm,
yes,
or the
as the
URL.
slot.
Hmm.
And then you can go after Christmas in if you want, because it's going to be live all year round, and you can change the format if you want or the wording to say Christmas 2026 coming,
Yep.
whatever, but just keep that alive. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think that's great. And Google always loves to know that it's up to date information. So, like you said, we encourage people don't put the date in the URL structure up at the top, but do put somewhere on the page, like this is 2025. It doesn't have to be super prominent, but think of like a computer crawling that page. If they're trying to wonder, is this last year's information? Because it's been posted since 2023, or is this current? You can help really solidify and even really put like time and date and location, because that's going to help even now with AI bots coming in and crawling all your pages. It wants to know date, time, like all that type of really prominent information all in one line. So I think if you put that on your pages this year, specifically with AI rising, that'll be a huge, huge win for your landing pages. So,
that's good. And then I think the final thing that you could easily forget about is to reach out to your local news stations or around town pages. A lot of them want to know what you're offering. And so if you have a special event and then obviously your Christmas Eve, get those to those free channels all over town.
absolutely. That's huge. And that's also a huge win for SEO is to get those free backlinks to your website. And that's going to even more so help your local Christmas page rank higher, but also your whole website because SEO is all about popularity. And the more links that you have back to your website is huge. And Christmas is an amazing time to get those free backlinks from all your radio stations, news stations, TV stations. Even like I've seen some like different like in like Facebook groups. Like we have a neighborhood Facebook group, and they're starting to post like, "Hey, like where do we go see all the Christmas lights, or what are some churches with Christmas Eve services?" So be sure and look for different neighborhood Facebook groups that you could post those links in too, because those landing pages, the more places you post them, the more eyes that'll see them, and hopefully the more people that'll come to your church on Christmas. So.
Exactly.
Now, outside of communications, there's a lot of like things that are moving and going. What all do you see that needs to be thought of right now, or what other preparations do you need to be working on?
So for us, there's things we do every year that we will never not do, such as candlelight, moment at the end of the service. And so we always have to do a candle inventory. And luckily, we do it at the end of Christmas Eve service, so we have it for next year. And we do LED candles for littles and regular candles for teens and adults. And so we have to inventory those and then also think about how much have we grown. And so if you've grown, you may need more. We try to do a giveaway for children, so we've planned that and we're ordering that to have it ready. Are you going to offer a photo op, that evening or any time? And then if so, you may have to be planning a backdrop and a team that's ready to go shoot those shots or whatever you need for that. Because it's not a Sunday this year, or it's not associated with a weekend service necessarily. You've got to make sure you have all the teams built, that the extra teams that will be hosts and ushers and probably won't do coffee because it's the evening, but then you need your kids workers for whatever you're offering. So you have to start planning ahead for that because people know if they're going to be in town or not by now, most likely. So there's
Mhm.
that as well. Be considering how you're going to celebrate your volunteers. How will you, what Christmas gift will you give them this year? And we always do a volunteer t-shirt. That's our tradition. So we are getting that designed and printed right now because we've got to get it folded and packaged and then handed out, which is going to be in a blink. So whatever that is, you need to be planning that. And it certainly doesn't have to be something huge or expensive, but just how are you thinking of them and celebrating them this season?
That's awesome. I think that's a great thought, and in a and when a lot of people have family in town over the holidays and they're giving of their time to come in early or stay late or to not sit with their family during the service, like just a little expression of gratitude, I think goes a long ways in just recognizing, hey, we really see you and thank you for choosing to serve this holiday season. And no matter how big or small your church is, whether you have 5 volunteers or 200 volunteers, you couldn't make that night happen and do Christmas Eve without all your volunteers, and they're really giving of their time. And so I think that's a great idea to find some type of small gift to give them. Or I know whenever I was the hospitality coordinator at our church, one of the things we did was a hospitality room just for all of our volunteers. And we had our staff went out, and our staff would make all these homemade like cookies and platters and things like that. And we had I think 7 services throughout Christmas Eve usually. And so we had volunteers rotating in and out between services from like 2 p.m. till midnight. In that hospitality room, I remember people would brag about and just be like, man, like, thank you guys so much. This was so sweet. And a lot of them are running in and out from like their holiday schedules, and to just have a snack or just something like we'd put like decorations all out. And it was just like, we want to make sure you know that we're thankful that you're here. So,
That's a great idea. And you also think about like who is serving literally the entire, you have your band and your tech team and your staff are going to be there from early and then late. And so, especially like, do we need to provide a meal? Because they're literally here for probably 5 hours,
yep.
total, if not more. So, that's a great idea and not that hard to put together.
Yeah,
So,
not many Uber drivers on Christmas Eve, and there's not many restaurants open. So you really do have to think, I can't just get food here real quick. So we need to prep
mhm.
something and have somebody in charge of that. And that's a great thought. You need to think about providing a meal or some type of food for your volunteers throughout the day. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then,
Now,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just thinking a couple other things that have been kind of hits or whatever is we brought in wagons last year and we had some first impressions guys with Santa hats or whatever, and they would run to the cars and wagon the kids up, and that was like a really big hit, and so super cute, super easy. And the kids loved it. And a lot of times, like with you, before yours could all walk, I mean, you've got 4 kids, so a wagon's helpful.
Yeah, very helpful.
Very helpful. And then we've also started using blow ups in our front lawn, and we've collected them over the years. And so we have those all out at Christmas Eve. And it's so festive and cute. And it's also built in photo ops where you're not having to build something extra. And people, it does get dark, but for us, the first couple of services will have daylight so that you can get some pictures in front of those. So that's another fun thing that we've done.
Absolutely. I think that's like pro tip, like number one that has been awesome I've seen is all the blow ups or like welcome signs that you can put out. Like for what I see is just little kids flocking to those, and it's just like little kids are playing with them, and you have to be ready for some of them to get broken. Like I'm sure
Mhm.
my kids have broken a few of those signs or blow up things throughout the years, but I think there's parents out there naturally just gathering, having a fun time, but they're taking pictures of their kids, posting it on social media, and I think then the world is seeing, and your whole community and all that, all of our friends are now seeing, hey, we're at this church and our kids are enjoying it, they're having fun. So I think that's been a huge win. And I would encourage churches to think about how you could do that, because it's like another photo op. You might have a photo opportunity inside, but this is like a very natural one. And it even shows the outside of your building. So, like people that, oh, yeah, I've driven by that. Oh, I know exactly what church that is. So I think it's just really great outreach tool as well. So,
Yes. And then I think about some things that aren't fun to think about, but that you really need to is like, okay, when are we tearing down? Because now we have a plan of when everything's going to come down. But I remember, back in the beginning, years and years ago, you'd kind of show back up and go, like, oh, we got to get all this taken down. And I kind of forgot that. And so, for us, what's interesting this year, we're going to do an Epiphany service. So that's the first or the second service in January. No, first service in January will be still have Christmas. So you have to think through, when is Christmas over so that I can set the church back up normal. Another thing that's a big pet peeve of mine is I want the Christmas Eve roadsides down, because we get the week after Christmas off, which is such a gift. But I don't want that Christmas Eve road sign up past the time that it happened. That's just, I want it to be updated. So we have a plan to switch that sign out during the last Christmas Eve service. It's just little details, but I think that that matters, because when you drive by church, and we've all seen them when they've got a banner up that's 3 weeks
yep,
old, the trunk or treat is over.
yep.
It's just, I think those details matter.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
And I think that's one of the big things of our website is our website automates taking down some of that, and you can schedule whole sections. You can go to an advanced setting, an entire section that you're building, and say, I want this to stop showing after this certain date. And even all of your announcements around certain events, they can stop showing after a certain date. So that's hopefully one less thing you have to think about. But the road signs you will have to go manually remove. There's not a AI bot to remove the road signs, but I think that's a huge point. Now, one of my other questions, what is like a first time guest? Is there anything different that y'all do for first time guests, or to sort of recognize or help people find stuff? Like, what have you thought through in that over the years?
that's a great question, and I think we just kind of run our same play with a gift bag, and I think you have fewer people identify themselves as first-time guests that on those Christmas Eve services for whatever reason. But we also always plan to have, and we'll definitely have, a take home card that will showcase the next series, and we have some new things going on, like we're adding a service, so we're going to make sure the guests have a really clear what's next
Yeah,
kind of option, and we will offer to let them identify themselves, but I just have noticed that they don't as much,
yeah.
at
They
least
just
in my experience.
go get their seats. They want to make sure to get the best seats before it gets crowded. And but I do think
Exactly.
one of the big wins, and I always love to encourage churches in this, no matter how big or small you are, is to have some type of way for a guest to identify themselves as a first time guest, and then some way that then you can identify them to the crowd that they're a first time guest. Not in an obnoxious way of like, hey, everyone stand up, it's new, but like a simple gift bag. If somebody's walking around with that gift bag the rest of Christmas Eve or the rest of a normal Sunday, then the rest of your congregation, especially your leaders, you can really tag them and say, hey, if you see somebody with a new first time bag, they're first time guests. Like, go introduce yourself, get to know them. And I think beyond ads, beyond like Google ads, beyond a great landing page, beyond all the emails that you're sending out, one of the best things for somebody to really come back to your church is that they felt known and a part of your community. And so I think, like, I hear over and over again of new people that come to our small group or things like that. One of the number one things they say is somebody remembered my name the second week that we came. And I think that's huge. And nobody will introduce themselves maybe if they don't have some way to be like, oh, hey, who are you? Or like to have some type of welcome gift that then you can go around and be like, hey, my name's Zach. What's your name? Like that is so huge. And for you to actually remember somebody's name the next week is a big deal too. But I just think having some type of gift or some type of natural follow-up process is a big win for Christmas.
Yeah, and I think the bag, and then I've just noticed over the years, a person that's new always looks up because they're looking for signage of where to go. And I mean, not 9.5 times out of 10, if they look up, they're new. And so I watch for that. And then I'm very shy by nature, which some people don't believe. But my go to line is, I haven't had a chance to meet you yet. And that way I'm not assuming, because you hate to go, are you new? And they're like, I've been here 2 years, thanks. So if I say, I haven't got a chance to meet you, that's just, you may have been here forever and we haven't met yet. And so that's kind of my go to line. If you're an introvert, I'm going to share that with you.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Now, I've got to share a fun Christmas Eve service story with you. So, when I first came on as a hospitality director at a church, they were running me through their normal Christmas Eve stuff for my first time, sort of onboarding me. And they're like, here are all the buckets of water that we place around the church. I was like, why do we have buckets of water around the church for Christmas Eve? And they were like, well, in case if there's a fire. And I was like, you think a bucket of water is gonna help? And they're like, here's the thing. Everybody gets all dressed up, all the extra like hairspray in your hair. Everybody comes in with big puffy jackets. Our chairs might be a little bit tighter than usual. And then all of a sudden you're handing every single person a flame, an open flame. And where do they put it? They put it right behind the big puffy jacket, right behind the hair. And they were like, just in case, we want to have a bucket of water ready close to most of the rows so that they can dump it. And I was on staff for 5 years, and in my fifth year of being on staff, we were at the end of the service, the candle lighting. It's this very special moment, and all of a sudden, we start to see a whole section of people just like mass exiting, and we start to smell. It smelled like burnt hair, and somebody's hair had caught on fire. And lo and behold, the training all of our volunteers and our usher team, they found the buckets of water. We got the hair and the coat put out. It wasn't a big deal, but I laugh about that every Christmas Eve because it's one of those training things that I thought of like, hey, if we didn't train our volunteers well, and like there was special things like that, and we brought
Mhm.
on so many new volunteers for all of our extra services each Christmas Eve. Which little pro tip there too, like Christmas is an amazing time to get new volunteers and onboard new volunteers. But they need trained. And I go back to that all the time. Like, if we didn't go through specific Christmas Eve protocol with our
Mhm.
ushers, they wouldn't have known why are there blue little buckets next to the rows. But because we did training, thankfully, some ushers acted really quickly and they were able to help a family not have a quite as traumatic experience at Christmas Eve. So I think pro tip from my side is have little buckets of water around your church because you never know whose hair or jacket might catch on fire.
And I've not, in my years, I have not seen that yet. Oh my
I
gosh.
guess, yeah. So it was a wild experience. It was one of those I was like, this will never ever happen, and it hasn't happened for you in many years, but for some reason
No.
it happened to us. So
Well, the thing with the candles is I always wish we could have them lit longer, but we really don't have them lit for terribly long
mm,
because we've had, Waxapalooza before. Like I think the first year we did them, we were scraping wax for hours, and I even sat because it's just my personality and I sang the song with a candle lit and tried to figure out how long, but for whatever reason some of them burn
yeah,
so fast and then some don't, and I have no idea what's happening.
yeah,
But that's a thing too that you have to be prepared for. And it does. And we found some stuff that gets it out. There are tricks, but like it can ruin your chairs
yeah,
or
absolutely.
pews. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too is to order. the like LED light ones now, and even if you don't, grab glow sticks for the kids. Like my kids, I don't trust them with the candle, like, and they like the glow sticks or the LED candles better. But I do know if you're not ordering the LED candles right now, they're not gonna get shipped in time. So be thinking about that as well right now. But any other thoughts for Christmas or stories you have over the years of doing Christmas?
I feel like we're kind of in a point where we run the same play. And that's a thing too of like, don't forget to be creative and think new, because it can be very easy just to fall into a pattern. But also, because the church I work at is more contemporary and you don't have as much like tradition. And I'm like, I love that my boys who've been at my church since they were born, Christmas Eve has always kind of looked the same. And I think there's something special about that too of traditions. And so I love that part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's so many memories like that people love about Christmas, and it's the family coming together, the meal, and going to church, and the candlelight service, and whatever your church does that's unique or different. I do think people love that, and I do think there is space too to like, hey, how do we creatively engage or adjust something? But there's also something really special, like you said, about the tradition and that type of thing. So one of the things for me that was new in a tradition is I never grew up going to church at a midnight service, but supposedly there was a lot of folks in the community that I was at that was a tradition. And so, being the new person on staff, I think I got voluntold that, hey, you're in charge of the midnight service and you get to preach at midnight. But it became a special tradition as I did that year after year, that I really liked sort of ending Christmas Eve at midnight. And there was just this special thing of just closing out and a sort of more quiet worship space, and getting ready for the next day in the celebration. So I think whatever your traditions are, it's fun, and your congregation's looking forward to those. But I also think too, like, put those on your website, like put those in your social media. And one of the things too, I would encourage people is create an event on Facebook. If you don't have an event created, events are a great way and have a different organic type of reach than a post will. And so if you can get your congregation to actually, and this works really, really, really well in smaller towns because everybody's sort of connected to each other on Facebook. And so in that, whenever you can create an event and some of your congregation starts to RSVP to that event, it starts going out and more naturally sharing in your community and with all their friends and all their friends' friends, and you'll see the snowball. Now, the other little tip too is you can boost those with just simple ad spend and boosting those in your community. And we've seen that be really impactful too. So, really, whatever you're doing this year, keep doing it. But I hope this podcast today was helpful for you guys. And I know I learned a lot in thinking through, like, oh, hey, what do I need to be thinking about right now? Or, but I hope you got some things as well. And from Mindy and me both, we want to say thanks for tuning in today to our podcast. It's been a pleasure getting to hang out with you and share some strategies. And I hope you found today's episode valuable. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other church leaders that you know. But until next time, keep working hard at communicating well with your community in ways that you can help them connect with Christ and community. We hope you have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.